Hi everybody, it's Mike the Healer, your gut guy, and today we're going to review Jordan Peterson's video on the carnivore diet. How does he feel about the carnivore diet? Let's watch it together.
Are you still eating your all beef diet?
Unfortunately, yes.
Really just beef? Not, can you have like ketchup on it?
Nothing. It isn't something I would lightly recommend. It's a little hard on your social life. It makes traveling quite difficult and it's dull as hell. But
what has it done for you?
So as you can see, Jordan Peterson is pretty conflicted about the carnivore diet. He wants to stay on it because it helps address his autoimmune issues, but he hates it because the diet is super boring. He's on a version of the carnivore diet where like all he can eat is beef with very minimal seasonings, no fruits, no vegetables, no starches. It's very tough on the taste buds, and I'm sure a lot of you have been there where your body is just crying out to eat anything but meat. It seems like he's on one of the strict versions of the carnivore diet. But in this video, as you watch this video, I'm going to share with you how to get off the carnivore diet. I have helped many people get off the carnivore diet. Now, I bet you're asking yourself, what conditions was Jordan Peterson dealing with? And so I watched some of his other videos, and Jordan Peterson has had depression on and off since his teenage years. You know, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's good. He's been on and off antidepressants. He also suffers from heartburn or gastric reflux. I'm not sure the complete details, but some form of the lesser curvature of the stomach, as we say in German New Medicine. But this reflux, this heartburn, this burning pain in the stomach. And he also has psoriasis. And psoriasis is like a itchy, inflamed patch of skin. It's itchy, it's inflamed, it's flaking, you know, not very sexy. So how can Jordan Peterson get rid of these issues without going on the carnivore diet? Why do some people not have these symptoms at all and he does? That's the real question. A lot of what modern medicine, holistic medicine, they like to compare like sick people to sick people when we should be trying to figure out like what makes a healthy person not have this condition and what makes somebody with this condition have this condition. And so a doctor named Dr. Hammer did this. Okay? Dr. Hammer, he's the founder of German New Medicine, and he would look at the brain CT scans of everybody who had a certain condition, and he would see a ring in their brain in a very specific location. So as far as depression and GERD goes, what Dr. Hammer would see with these people is right here in the temporal lobes, right about here, he would find a sharp ring. When the depression was active, the ring would be sharp. And this is caused by something called a conflict shock, a stressful event that catches him off guard, and it would be for him territorial anger, something that's making him angry in the territory. Now, Jordan Peterson has plenty. He lives a good life, but he also is very stressed out about things. I mean, his wife had cancer. Michaela has had all sorts of, health issues throughout her whole life. But he says he has had it on and off since he was a teenager. So when we're conflict active, this ring gets activated, and this actually causes it's going to cause heartburn and GERD. So there's a specific part of the stomach, the upper curvature of the stomach. So if we draw the stomach right here, this is not the best thing of the stomach. The ulcers only form at the top of the stomach here. You think they would form down here, because of gravity and the stomach acid hanging out down here, but they only form up here. They don't form down here. And it's because they're made out of two separate tissues. They originate from different parts of the embryo, when the fetus is formed. And so this tissue, when it's conflict active, we respond to the stress. It's a stressful thing that catches us off guard. And our body adapts to try to help us survive it. It's a pretty shitty design if you ask me, but it's what we're stuck with. It makes more sense from when we're like tadpoles and very small things, living in the primordial soup. It makes more sense there. And evolutionarily, life has existed for billions of years or millions of years in that phase, and we've only been like these advanced creatures for quite a while, so maybe evolution hasn't caught up. I don't know. This is just what Dr. Hammer saw 100% of the time. This is what we got to deal with. And when men had heartburn, it was always territorial anger. Like 100% of the time, it was territorial anger. And the more intense this anger is, the more intense they feel this, the more severe the cell loss is. Cell loss, cell loss, cell loss. And then the more intense, the more angry you are at this thing, the more severe the depression will get. And the depression is a survival mechanism. It keeps the person, like in bed, away from the conflict, so that to give the conflict time to blow over. That's the purpose of this. But the root cause of the depression is what's making him angry. So what someone needs to do is, what are your steps to do with someone with depression? First, you need to go, okay, when did I first start getting depression? Or when was my last huge depressive episode that I had? And so you go, oh, I was very depressed last time my girlfriend dumped me, or something like that. I was very depressed when I got laid off from a job. I was very depressed when, my best friend died, my mother died, or something like that. There was a stimulus. Everything has a stimulus. Things aren't random. Everything has a stimulus. And it's Dr. Hammer saw it was a territorial anger for men and for heartburn. So depression could be caused by many different conflicts, but for Jordan Peterson, it's most like, I haven't talked to him, but it's most likely this GERD that's causing his depression. What does Jordan Peterson really get angry about? Is it when liberals correct him? I don't know. He seems to handle it pretty well, but it's kind of hard to understand what's really going on behind somebody's mask. So if I were talking to Jordan Peterson, I would start asking him probing questions. Okay, when was your last depressive episode? Okay, what was making you angry during that time? And then, usually people are like, oh, I don't know, it was far away. And then, okay, well, what was your job? What was your situation? What was your daughter doing? What was going on with your wife? And you kind of help them get back into that point in time and try to figure out what's going on. And maybe it takes one session, maybe it takes 2 sessions. It just depends on the person. But essentially, what that person needs, once we identify what is wrong, I was upset with, I was very upset that, my kid was sick. I was very upset. I was very angry at Michaela Peterson's doctor because he was an idiot and couldn't help her. Okay, how do we resolve that conflict? Do we get Michaela better, and so she doesn't even need the doctor anymore? Do we perceive this thing differently? Now this is a tricky conflict, because the doctor should be doing his job and fixing her, but he's obviously not capable of that. It's very easy to get mad at the world, be mad at God who created us. How does that person resolve that conflict? And I can't just say something and have them magically resolve their conflict. It can only come from that person, because they experience that conflict in a very specific way. So I have to ask probing questions very openly and very cautiously to try to not put words in their mouth, and see how they're perceiving it and help them resolve it. And my favorite way to help people resolve conflicts is help them identify it, and then have them repeatedly throw this phrase at the sentence. Because usually when we address our conflicts, like we're like, oh no, this is gonna suck. Oh no, this is gonna be a pain in the butt. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Which is worry, worry, worry. We need to instead tell our brain what to do. How do I solve X, X being the conflict, enjoyably? And then this tells the brain, oh, okay, I need to solve this thing enjoyably. Let's figure it out. Humans are not logical creatures. Even Jordan Peterson, as logical as he may seem, he's human and therefore not logical. Even though he might be the most logical human being among us, we backward rationalize everything, our emotional reaction to things. If you don't like something, you could have like all these logical reasons for it, but at the end of the day, you have an emotional reason for feeling that way. And we need to guide our brain to experience positive emotions. How do I solve this enjoyably? Because you have the whole world and you have the media influencing you to experience the world miserably. Everything's negative on the news, etc., etc. How do I solve this enjoyably? And so the psoriasis is going to be a separation conflict. And with psoriasis, it's both in the healing phase and in the conflict active phase. And so that's either wanting to separate from somebody or an unwanted separation. Like, someone passing away, a pet passing away, someone, it's along those lines. And so, and it's the epidermis, and so that's cell loss in the conflict active phase, which causes the flakiness and the bleeding and stuff and the dryness. And then when it gets resolved, the separation conflict gets resolved, it responds with cell restoration. And that's where you get the inflammation and the itchiness. And so, it's a very similar process. What was going on when it first started? How can you solve this conflict enjoyably? And sometimes usually it's a trial and error process. And so how did the foods become an issue? So for some people, I went through a breakup once and I was having a coffee, like we got in a fight over a coffee because I was a holistic nutbag and I was like, coffee causes acne and you're drinking coffee, like you don't care about your health, blah, 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 blah. And so every time I had coffee, I would get diarrhea. Even though I was telling myself coffee is safe, my symptoms are caused by my conflicts, and G&M has proved this, and I believe this to my core. And I was still reacting to coffee, and I was like, what's going on here? And then one day, I just was like, oh, I got in a fight one time over coffee with an ex-girlfriend, and we literally broke up the next day over it. Coffee, hey, that's safe. Thank you, subconscious, for making my life inconvenient with this, but when we experience these DHSs, our mind takes like a quick snapshot of the situation. So it's like, okay, there's something bad's happening to us. There's coffee right there. So next time we see coffee, we need to ring the alarm bells. Because last time we saw coffee, something really bad happened. But now that I've logically made sense of it, and both the subconscious mind and the logic mind are in sync with each other now. Because there's a lot of things going on in your subconscious mind that the logical mind is just completely oblivious to. Now that I have that recognition on both levels, I can have as much coffee as I want and I have a perfectly formed stool. So what Jordan Peterson needs to do is what I have people do is first start identifying the conflicts, because once you can really map the symptoms to the conflicts, it becomes a lot easier to let go of your food phobias. Because I know what it's like trying to work starches back into your diet and feeling awful. So that's what we need to do. Start convincing ourselves that food is safe again. Because now, You know, Jordan Peterson believes so much that the carnivore diet is going to save him, and I've been in his shoes before, that, you know, and I understand, like, when you try to get off these diets, the symptoms are horrible. But the only thing that changed between then and now is the state of the conflict, which is usually not, nobody, you know, they're not aware of at the time because they don't know the importance of it. But it's just everything, just because all they're aware of is the food, and so the brain starts to blame everything on the food, and but it's somehow, it's not the food itself. It's the psychological component. It's the psychological component. And, you know, he's got the stomach issues going on, so it's very easy to blame food when you have stomach issues going on. But he needs to start to perceive all food is safe and start to look for, you know, the conflicts and how to resolve these conflicts. But yeah, guys, you don't have to be stuck on the carnivore diet. You want to get off the carnivore diet, watch my 30-day guide right here. It's like an hour-long video, and it comes with a free PDF, and I show you exactly what you need to do to get better. So go watch that, hit the like button, hit the comment, leave a comment down below, hit the subscribe button. Do this because it promotes us in the YouTube algorithm. And this maybe, hopefully Jordan Peterson will see it. I don't know how much of a convincing argument I gave here, but I've seen it work for many people. Thank you for watching, guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.